Even when you feel low, you can.
With Derek Carr shelved and our final two games basically not meaning anything and going up against the 49ers who are playing for something, do we even have a chance of winning this game?
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are live. Yes, we are live on TikTok as well. We are getting back into the groove, back into the old school after my move. We are back, and we are going to be making even more improvements next week and the weeks to come for this channel and both the channels on TikTok and YouTube. If you are not noticing this, I am simulcasting both on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat right now. I see people already in TikTok. Start that a couple minutes earlier because it takes a little bit of time to get noticed. I see Dominique already in here. How you doing tonight? We're going to talk about the 49ers Raider game, but I really want to get in a little bit more about the Derek Carr situation. If you have not known about that, basically he has been shelved for the last two games. And does that mean he is gone? I will give you my opinion on that and back it up with some facts. I want to say hello to Sandy Eclectic as well, who's in TikTok. Al's Ghost, salute to you too, sir. How are you doing tonight? I also have a poll on the YouTube side. I asked with Stidham, how do we finish these last two games? Is it going to be 0-2? Is it going to be 1-1? Is it going to be 2-0? And then I put one in there, last two playoffs, baby. If you're really optimistic, technically we still have a chance in hell to make the playoffs. We have to, of course, win the next two, and a bunch of different scenarios have to play out. So if you are not familiar with this, let's get right into this right now. And this is how we normally do it. We have what we call the rundown here, and these are the topics we're going to be covering. And then at the end, I'm going to have a question and answer segment. If you do want to come on, I have a link in the description on TikTok, the opening statement right there in text. You can get on that. Or if you're on the YouTube side, I have the pinned comment with the link. You go in there. You'll be in the green room once we get to the question and answer segment. And then you can come on live. You do not have to have your camera on, of course. But if you want to sound off, talk about Raider Nation, what's happened with Derek Carr and the whole franchise in general, let alone the 2022 season, this is your chance to do it.
I hear everyone say it, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
Absolutely. As far as the champion count goes in YouTube, it is pretty much flattened out. And I've talked about that before. YouTube does not promote this channel. There's some reasons behind that. And as we get into the new season, we get into this off season, I will be making some major changes to the channel. I will get into that more once we get to the end of the season, but I'm going to have a few things I want to do to remedy that situation. TikTok is still growing, though, and it's actually kind of dwarfing the YouTube channel now. It's kind of sad, to be honest with you. And as far as the TikTok side, I do lives, but I also do kind of quick, short videos. That's more of that format. Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate that as well. If you are liking this on either platform, be sure to like and then follow or subscribe so you will be notified of future live streams that we do. Now, we usually do a Raider poll of the week, and I want to have your answers here on YouTube side, and this was my poll. This actually I put out the morning, a few hours before the announcement was made that Derek Carr would be basically benched for the rest of the season. I asked, would Derek Carr play of the game with silver and black? Pretty mixed here, to be honest with you. Yes and no. Not this season was 18%, so obviously the yeses weren't there, of course. We had that information come out. I want to go into this right now. I want to talk about this before we kind of go into this game review. And I'm going to do that right now once we get over here. I want to show you first some things with Derek Carr. First thing I want to talk about is his contract. A lot of things have been mentioned about the contract. We're on SpotTrack.com, of course. And I just want to get this out here right now. There is an out in his contract for 2023 season. It'll be about $5.6 million in dead cap space. We will be doing a salary cap review in the offseason like we have the last 2 seasons. Very informative. If you have not noticed that, go back and look at the past ones as well, where I go through step by step who's going to make what. Currently, of course, there are some restructuring that goes on during the season and some play with the cap. But I want to give an idea of where we stand with the cap, some kinds of free agents that we could possibly sign, and people I think we're going to cut. So it's very exciting. We'll get to that in the offseason. But with this one, I want to get to this right here. As far as the contract notes go, 2023 salary, $7.5 million of fully guaranteed at February 15th. Now, of course, it's fully guaranteed if he was injured. That's why they kind of put him on the shelf. I think that's what happened there. But it's very interesting. February 15th is the deadline. If we are going to cut him, that would be the time, to be honest with you. There's also some potential landing spots. I want to go over this with Yahoo real quick. People are talking about where Derek Carr could go. Personally, I think he's going to be gone. I don't think he's going to be playing with the silver and black again. So he's going to move on. Whether or not we actually move him or let him go to free agency, we will see about that. I just want to go over some of the teams that they mentioned. New Orleans Saints, yeah, that is an opportunity. I've talked about that last week, especially with Sean Payton. If he comes back, that could be a very interesting situation. You have Chris Olave there. Michael Thomas, I'm not really a big fan of. He's been hurt like just about every season. Taysom Hill's a nice little utility player. That could be interesting. Plus, that division's pretty weak right now. The next one they say is Pittsburgh Steelers. I disagree with this one. They have Kenny Pickett, first round rookie that they have in there. They're not going to just go out and get Derek Carr. Plus, they have some issues, obviously, on the defensive side of the ball. Bring somebody up with TJ Watt. And like I said before, when TJ Watt is hurt, that defense looks completely different. So I think they're going to ride with Kenny Pickett, ride where they are, take the bumps as far as the rookie goes. They had Big Ben forever, a future Hall of Famer. So I think that's their future, especially when they have George Pickens, who I think could be another OJB. So I think that's where it's going to be right now. Washington Commanders, absolutely. I agree with this one. Carson Wentz is absolute trash. He's already gotten a couple contracts, one with the Colts and then with the Washington Commanders. It makes no sense to me, to be honest with you. Taylor Heineke, I think, is just a placeholder. He's had his chances to win that job. There's no confidence there. I could see that happening. Tampa, that's a very interesting one. Is Tom Brady going to retire? That could be a possible landing spot, I would say, as well. Again, we're back in the NFC South with him, and that is a very weak division right now. And I remember the last time he played in Tampa, he threw for 400 yards, just saying. And then they put here Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think that's going to happen. They cite Jimmy Garoppolo with the Niners. A little bit of a different situation. I think the Raiders are going to move on from him. And personally, Derek did not do himself any kind of good the last few games. The accuracy's been off. The interceptions have been up, even the ones that are his fault. So I don't think that's going to happen. And those are the ones they put. I would add the Jets and the Giants as well. Zach Wilson was put as the number 3 quarterback, basically benched. I don't think they have any confidence with the Jets. They are a fringe playoff team. The only thing with Derek Carr is that whole stigma of can he play in the cold, of course. The Jets and the Giants are cold weather type stadiums, of course, outdoors. And the Giants, are they going to go with Danny Dimes? I'm not so sure. I think Saquon Barkley might move on as well. That could be very interesting. You might see Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs in the Giants uniform next year. I'm just saying. And if it happens, I'm going to say, hey, I talked about this before. So, a lot of people say, well, you didn't say that. You're just saying that now. So I want to get back to that. I want to get back to this game review, though. That's my thoughts as far as Derek Carr goes. I think he's played his last game of the silver and black. I thought so after this week. Looked pretty terrible. And I brought up that this could very well be rigged. He could have thrown the game the way, especially that last pass. It was kind of like a punt into center field, kind of like a pop-up. Was not very confident in his play. A lot of overthrows to Devontae Adams, to be honest with you. And I think at this point he probably needs a fresh start. And the Raiders as a franchise need a fresh start as well. And Officer Rollout says, Carr to Houston. And already has the combo to his brother's locker. Well, Mac Jones isn't the answer. Houston would be very interesting since his brother played there. Would he really want to go there, though? Kind of the way I think they kind of did David Carr a little dirty there. Didn't really let him get beat up there. I think over 100 sacks he got in his career. So I'm not so sure about that, but that is a possibility. Davis Mills is definitely not the answer. Let's get to the defensive side, and we're going to take this a little bit more lighthearted, kind of like what we did after the New Orleans Saints game. After the New Orleans Saints game, I declared this team officially dead. A lot of people didn't do it for a few more weeks. Basically, getting shut out there. I put the tombstone up, and it kind of came to fruition. Now, a lot of the veterans kind of pulled together and tried to will a few wins, especially with Josh Jacobs, stepping up his game. Could it just be because he wants to get a contract? He's in a contract year, possibly. But you know what? He did what he did, leading the league in rushing. It is what it is. So I'm going to get back to my tanking mode here because this is what this franchise is doing. Come on, guys. Jared Stidham is obviously not the answer. He wants to take a look at him. That's what Josh McDaniel says. Bunch of crap. I want to deal with this. So we're going to get back to our tank mode, and we're going to go to the injury report first. Not a whole lot here, of course. Derek Carr did not practice. He's going to be inactive. Chase Garbers is going to be the number 2 quarterback. That's already been said. He's basically gone. Nobody out here, so it doesn't really matter at this point. We're 6-9. It would take an absolute miracle to make it. Now, Nick Bosa had an illness, but he did practice fully. I could not get the game report this afternoon, the final one for the Niners. It's supposed to come out. It did not come out. I went to the Raiders site. I went to the Niners site as well. So I'm fully confident that Nick Bosa is going to play. But we're going to start on our defensive side of the ball. The first one we're going to talk about right here is Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is the type of player that can make big plays. I think he's kind of regressed a little bit this year. Was looking very sharp last year. But with our secondary and our defensive backs, he can look like an absolute superstar. And I could see him, if you want to have a tanking goal, at least 100 yards receiving. I put 1 receiving touchdown. I also put a play of 30 yards or more. He can make some big plays as well. I could totally see that. My second key, of course, I'm going to go this guy right here. This guy they traded for, this unknown guy named Christian McCaffrey. Absolute stud. Got freed from the prison that is the Carolina Panthers. And I'm going to put, as far as a tanking goal, 150 combined yards because also he can catch the ball. We all know that. And at least 1 touchdown. I think that could very well happen. I think we're going to still be pretty decent at stopping the run. It's going to be him in the flat going to kill us, especially if we can't get to Purdy, which has happened in weeks past. And we've made these other quarterbacks look very good. Especially Davis Mills comes to mind. Matt Ryan, interception machine, looked good with us against the Colts. So Dominique says they're going to take over our stadium Sunday. Shake my head. Well, everybody wants to go to Vegas, and especially since it's New Year's weekend, so it's going to be packed. It is what it is. I mean, this regime has put us in this situation. So as far as tanking goes, those are my keys on the defense. If you are enjoying this, I got to urge you to hit that like button. I see a few likes. I need to see a few more likes in here. Let me see how many likes. I got 36 in TikTok. How many likes do we have on the YouTube side? I see 5 right now. Come on, guys, that's not enough. You get in here, you step in, you hit that like button, absolutely free. And if you are enjoying this, why not subscribe as well? That way you'll be notified of our future live streams. Of course, we're going to be going back. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to do our halftime show, our halftime report. I'm going to do my good, bad, and ugly. We're going to go over these keys to the game, my craps to the game, basically tanking, because that's what this team is doing right now. And I'm going to see how we're doing with this. And usually I get pretty animated, so it's very entertaining as well. And I hope you guys come out and join us. Welcome to the clown show that is the Raiders offense. And you could say it's the offensive line, the quarterback play. The only one that's really been consistent, obviously, is Josh Jacobs. But at this point, Jarrett Stidham will be our starting quarterback. Let's hope he doesn't get destroyed by the 49ers defense, one of the best defenses in the league. 15th overall in passing, but number 1 in rushing. And number 1 in run defense. And, of course, we got to talk about this guy, Nick Bosa, 17.5 sacks, on his way for Defensive Player of the Year. This is the guy that was compared to Cleve Farrell, or Cleve Farrell was compared to him with our previous regime. And I said they've been smoking some good crack. And, of course, I was right. These are guys that do this full time. And, of course, they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. What a shock there. This guy is an absolute beast. He's going to be going up against a Luminor who has been improving on the right side. But this is going to be a monumental test. I'm looking something like what we saw last week with Cam Hayward versus James, where Luminor is going to get an education in this game. And Nick Bosa is usually getting about 2 sacks a game. I'm going to say he's probably going to get about 3 sacks and 4 quarterback hits. That would be a good tanking goal for us as far as that goes. And it could very well happen. I think because we're going to have a hard time running the ball. They're the very best at stopping the run, 75 yards per game average. I know Josh Jacobs is good, so this is strength versus strength. But I don't think it's necessarily going to get the job done even at home. And Stidham's going to have to go back there and start passing the ball, which could spell trouble for him in this offense. Now, my second key to the game would be Jarrett Stidham himself, right? If we're going to tank, it's going to start with him at the quarterback position. Let's be honest here. So if you want to tank, we got to have under 200 passing yards and at least 1 turnover, whether it's an INT, a fumble, strip sack type of effort. It could very well happen. Again, this is a backup guy. This guy has started for the Patriots before. Did not look very good. This whole thing with McDaniel saying he wants to take a look at him, that's a bunch of crap. I think he brought him in as a backup because he knows his system. If something happened to Carr, he could be a nice little plug-in. I think Stidham will be here next year as the number 2 guy and with somebody new as our starting quarterback. So as far as the prediction goes, I always do the 4 keys of the game. I also want to do a prediction. Thank you for all those likes. As likes got up, I gotta say hello to you guys for that. 248 likes. We need some more likes on that YouTube side, though, guys. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Speaking of which, what's my prediction for this game? I'm gonna quote Mr. T in Rocky 3. Pain. That's my prediction for this game. And I might be a little generous here. I'm going to predict a 27-10 loss. I'm thinking it's going to be one of those games where we're down like 24-3 most of the game. And that touchdown's going to be like a little garbage touchdown at the end. But it's not even going to be that close. I think with this defense, and you got a guy like Jarrett Stidham, it's going to be very hard. Not just that, the linebackers are good. Ward's very good as well. That's going to be a good matchup with Adams. But again, getting a new quarterback in, it's all about timing. So is he really going to have the time of the Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Waller? There might be some plays here or there, but overall, it's going to be some problems. He's going to have some accuracy issues. And then a guy like Hufanga up here, who is an absolute ball hawk, a guy I was hoping we would get in the draft a couple years back from SC. And he's proven his weight out there, creating havoc and turnovers for this Niners defense. Let's be honest, the Niners are a definite contender for the Super Bowl. I would say they would be the best team in the NFC if it wasn't for the Philadelphia Eagles right now, but you could argue them as such. And that's with basically a 7th-round rookie quarterback at the helm. So what does that tell you? That means they're pretty good all other places, and it's going to show. And like a lot of people are saying, Dominique was saying, I think the Niners are going to be there and forced to root for their team. I think the Raiders and the franchise in general has kind of disenfranchised the fan base with the way things were. We were 10-7 last year, and we're well on our way to it would be lucky if I think we get to 7-10. I could very well see us losing these next games. I said this last week. The Niners are still in contention, still have a chance for that top spot. If you recall, there are 7 teams in the playoffs. Only the top team in each conference gets that bye week. You used to have two teams get a bye in each conference. Not anymore. So they still have a chance of catching Philadelphia. They're going to need some help, but still. So they're going to be at their air game. Same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to have a chance to try to catch Buffalo for that top spot in 2 weeks. So you're going to see Patrick Mahomes playing next week. It's going to happen. And I think the Raiders are going to kind of go out with a whimper, basically, and perhaps draft a quarterback in the first round in the 2023 draft. But I want to know what you have to say. Put your comments in here. What's your score prediction? Put them in the YouTube right now, and put them in TikTok. I want to see what your score prediction is right here. Last week I had 16-13 Pittsburgh. It ended up our 13-10. So I think this is going to be pretty much a domination. I gave us a touchdown. I'm looking at maybe like a garbage touchdown at the end. It could very well be 27-3, to be honest with you. So put your predictions in the comments right now. I want to look at those. Also, if you're on the YouTube side, vote in our live voting right now with Stidham. How do you think we're going to finish these last 2 games? I'm saying 0-2. I think this organization wants to tank. I think this team could have drastic changes in the offseason, including possibly trading Devontae Adams the way it's going. They're not going to re-sign Josh Jacobs. I was saying that from the beginning. I could see Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr being on the same team next year. Like I said, in a Giants uniform. I don't think the Jets because they got Breece Hall, but Saquon might be leaving the Giants. There's talk about Indianapolis for Carr, a lot of different places. Be very interesting to see that. So at this point, I want to get to our question and answer segment. I want to talk about this. I want to get what you have to say. Put your questions in here. We're going to talk about this. So my question to you is, do we have any chance in hell of winning this game? I don't think so. I guess there's always a chance, like Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah. I mean, if we get a shitload of turnovers, and things bounce our way, that's possible. But realistically speaking, this team's better than us. They're a more complete team, and with Purdy in and playing pretty decently. I think he threw a pick last week, but he had 2 touchdowns. The week before against Tampa, he completely owned them. It's going to be tough, and our secondary stinks. It stunk in the offseason. I talked about that. Never was really resolved. In fact, we subtracted Trayvon Mullen. Not to say he was great, but who did we get? Rock Ya-Sin? He's an okay corner, so that's probably our best corner, let's be honest. Nate Hobbs looked bad last week. Amik Robertson, to me, has no business playing outside. Too small, looked pretty bad. Doesn't look very good against bigger receivers, especially like when we play Cortland Sutton with Denver. I'm just saying, so a lot of holes, not really filled. I'm wondering if this regime really would just want to tank this year anyway. I mean, it kind of looked like it because, we talked about 2-7 and Mark Davis coming out and saying McDaniel's doing a fantastic job. Fantastic job in what? Tanking? It didn't make any sense, to be honest with you. So join the channel, y'all. Let's see. No. 4PF69 says no. Okay. Put your comments in anyway. If you want to say no, just say no. Let's see. More juice for Houston and Carr, says Officer Rollout. It's on the Houston Texans thing again. If I'm Derek Carr, I'm not going to the Texans. The way they treated his brother, I'm not going there. They didn't support him, and frankly, the way that team is now, Lovie Smith, I'm not impressed with Lovie Smith as a coach. I'm not. And Brandon Cooks, it looks like he wants out. So who are you going to throw the ball to? Jordan Akins? Are they going to go out and spend money for a wide receiver? Oh. I mean, that division's not very good. Let's be honest. Tennessee's regressed. Indy's been in flux. Jacksonville's starting to come up. I'm not totally convinced of Trevor Lawrence right now. I'm still more wait and see on that, but you know, he's not blowing the doors off anybody. So Dominique says the only way I trade. Thanks for joining. Yes, thank you for joining. I appreciate that. Got a lot of people in TikTok as well. So put your comments down. I want to hear from you. Type it in. Also, let's get this chat going right now. Let's get it going. I'm going to read the comments. I'm going to get this set up right now. If you want to come in, I got the pinned comment right now. We got the pinned comment. You click that link and you go right in. You go right into the green room and I will let you in. I will get you going on that. Let's get this new tab here. So we'll go to the Restream Studio. I gave the link in the description on both platforms. So you click that link, you put your name in there. You can put your handle in there as well. You don't have to be on camera, but I want to hear you sound off, Raider Nation. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this regime the last 2 weeks. Any chance that we have against the Niners? Let's talk about it. I'm going to go through the comments right now. You can go there right now, and then I'll get you in. So let's see. Devontae, let's see. The only way I trade Devontae is if somebody gives me 3 first-round picks. Other than that, is Stan because he's under contract. Yeah, I can see that, but to be honest with you, what if he wants out? If he's so disgruntled because his buddy's going to be shown the door, what do? Just keep him around? What is this franchise going to do to placate him? That would be the big question. I don't know if we get 3 first rounders, maybe 2, like we got. And if he doesn't want to be here, let's get 2 first rounders for him, you know. Were you surprised? Not really. I said this team was dead after New Orleans, the way it's played. I have not been impressed with McDaniel's coaching, play calling, especially the adjustments. I mean, come on. How many double-digit leads have we lost? I mean, when does the coaching take accountability for this? You know, is it ever going to be? It's absolutely ridiculous. Officer Rollout says, warm weather, dome, and a bargain Greyhound one way from Las Vegas. Well, then put him in Arizona, you know. Is Kyler Murray going to play again, you know? I don't know. He's about 5 foot tall. He's going to get his head knocked off just like RG3. How long is he going to last? Put him in the air raid offense with good old Kingsbury. Kingsbury can show him around his big old mansion or whatever. I don't care. That would be very interesting as well. I'm still not feeling Houston. Unless Derek Carr, I don't know. Like I said, the way things went down with his brother, I guess he wants to be in traction then if he wants to go to Houston. 1,100 likes. I see that. I actually see 1,400 likes. I appreciate that. Let's see. 6 likes. We got to get that up a little bit higher, guys. A little bit higher. If you haven't liked, hit that like button. I know you can only do it one time on YouTube. You can hit it multiple times on the TikTok side. I do appreciate that, each and every one of you. Again, put your comments here. I'm looking at both chat rooms. Once I get that stream key, I'm going to put it both side by side, and you guys can interact, and I'll have both chats there, and you guys can read back and forth and interact with each other. But TikTok's a funny little thing. And especially since I moved, I have not done a lot of lives on here. This is my first one since I've moved on the TikTok side. So I'm going to have to generate more lives before they're kind of nice to me. So, and kind of keep my mouth shut and not say certain words. And like I did before and got a hand slap. Curtis Williams, how you doing? I see you out here. So if Stidham doesn't perform well, where do you think the Raiders go from here? Of course, in the draft, there's a lot of options there. Strut could be an option. I know a lot of people aren't trusting the Ohio State quarterbacks. Could be some free agency. I'm wondering. They talked about that. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo. I hate to say it, and I've talked about this in blogs. Same thing with Tom Brady. Could Tom Brady be a Raider? Absolutely, he could, because we have the Patriots regime here. Does that mean I want him here? No. But I'm going to entertain that possibility because it's a legitimate possibility given who's running the show here. Come on. It's definitely not Tommy Boy. He doesn't know anything except eating wings at Hooters. Let's be honest here. So, but Jimmy Garoppolo, former Patriot, that could be a possibility as well. At some point, the Niners got to get rid of him. I don't know how they're doing with the cap space. I'd have to look at that. But again, former Patriot, definite possibility. I don't want Lamar Jackson because he's going to want a ton of money and he's already starting to get hurt, and he's a running quarterback who gets hurt. I'm thinking RG3 again, and we're going to dump a bunch of money. I don't want to pull the Denver Broncos and tie the world into a quarterback on the downside. Let's be honest. He can make some plays, but he's going to get hurt again. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, Officer Roulette says, I love Kyler Murray. He runs like a toddler. Well, I mean, he's 5 foot tall. He doesn't have a wide leg base. So, of course, he's going to do that. I mean, it's another guy who's going to take the league by storm because athletically speaking. But if you're going to go that route, I'd go with Justin Fields. I think as far as throwing the ball, I think he's getting a little bit better. I think he needs some more help around him, especially they didn't keep Allen Robinson. He was gone. So, I mean, I don't think Mooney's the answer. I think, Mooney. What, Cole Kmet? Give me a break. So, I think with pure talent, though, with that guy, I think with the running ability and the throwing combination, he's probably the best at doing that, besides Patrick Mahomes, of course. I mean, he ain't going nowhere, so it doesn't matter. So, salute champion. I see in here Al's Ghost. I'm going to get to some more of these comments. I'm going to bring in, I see Al's Ghost in the green room. Always a treat to have Al's Ghost in here. And we're going to draft a quarterback. So 75-28. Will he start right away? No. Why not? Why not start him right away at this point? What are we waiting for? To me, we're kind of in rebuild mode. What would we wait for, especially with this offensive? What are they going to do with this offensive line? It's been a problem for years now. Brandon Parker was trash. Leatherwood didn't pan out. Illuminor looked bad in the beginning, has improved, but now it's the interior line. It's James. It's the guard play is terrible now. Denzel Good retiring. That was a huge hit for us, to be honest with you. I don't know what they're going to do. Dylan Parham looked pretty bad last week as well. He blocks like Zamir White runs. This is how Dylan Parham blocks. If I see you right in front of me, then I will block you. If you stunt around me, you can literally run past me and I won't touch you. That's Dylan Parham. That's the regime's first pick. Okay, so you are backstage. Let me get to the last one. I'm so tired here. All excuses for Carr, says Dominique. People just need to move on, except his tenure is over. He had 9 years. Yes. 75-28 says we have many holes to fill to start a rookie. And let's get Al's Ghost in here. Hello, sir. Let me make sure we can hear you. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Chan. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Everybody can hear you. I've got this
testing.
set up. So
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. I mean, as a Raider fan, it's pretty much all you can do. I mean, they take you to the brink, and then I don't know what to say about that, to be honest with you, because you it is what it is. At this point, it's going to be a rebuild mode. Derek Carr is not going to come back, in my opinion. Uh, I don't think it's going to happen the way things are. And then he's been out of the quarterback room. He's basically gone already with 2 games left. So uh, I'll let you talk, though. You're in here. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, yeah, I agree with you. He's gone. Not sure if you saw on social media, he stopped following the Raiders on Twitter and Instagram. So I think he's pretty much fed up with this, and I don't blame him. Right? You got outcast by the organization, and I think this is a ripe time for both parties to, go their separate ways. And as you said, I think we're entering into a full rebuild mode. So this is not just like a partial rebuild. This is now a complete teardown, in my opinion. And I've been hearing some other Raider content creators over the past couple of days. Well, number one, in a bizarre way, celebrating Derek Carr's benching, which, by the way, is not 100% accurate. The guy's not getting benched. He's literally like inactive. So it's not like he's on the bench. As you know, he's not even allowed, I believe, to be in the facility because he might get injured on company time. But it's just like a bizarre reaction from our fan base, reacting in a celebratory fashion as if this was the downfall of some violent dictator, which I don't really understand. But that aside, yeah, we're in complete full rebuild mode now. I think there are some very, very dark times ahead in this organization. I'm not betting on a first-time GM in Dave Ziegler and a failed / unproven head coach in Josh McDaniels in building this the right way. So I suspect that the Patriot way, although they're trying to institute it in Southern Nevada, is just not going to work. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to work. And I think this organization is in for several more years of distress and losing. So I don't think that the McDaniel Ziegler experiment will work. As you talked about the Dylan Parham pick, not impressed. I wasn't impressed with some of Ziegler's free agency pickups and some of the contracts that he negotiated in free agency. I think he's still very, very green behind the ears. I mean, people fail to realize like this guy was a high school counselor, I think less than a decade ago, or like 11, or a little bit over a decade ago. So I don't think he's the guy. I think he might be a good GM, but I'm tired of having these guys use the Raider organization as a training ground for them to get NFL experience, and that's what's happening here. So I'm not too hopeful, champion, in terms of this weekend's game, and I should say the remaining 2 games. I think we probably got blown out by 2 or 3 scores. I'm sort of in line with your score prediction. I'm thinking probably 30-14 Niners this weekend. So I do think that we probably score 2 touchdowns, maybe a Devontae Adams and a Josh Jacobs running touchdown. But again, I think we probably score those points in garbage time. So I'm not too hopeful.
Yeah. Well, let me get to this. So first thing, the Patriot way. Let's take a look at the Patriots. Not looking so good right now. Let's be honest with you. I know we had that goofy play. I said it looked like it was rigged. Might have been, might not have been. But regardless, they played like crap. They did not deserve to win that game. Not to say we were gangbusters in that game, but they played worse than we did. They don't look very good. So what is it, Belichick or was it Tom Brady? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the past draft picks that they've had. Not very good. You can start Kill Harry. A few others that have just not panned out. I think one year they drafted like 3 tight ends in a draft pool. So I'm not so sure about this. I want to get back to your point though, as far as this goes, a training ground. Ultimately, this is Mark Davis. This is on Mark Davis. He's a Tommy boy. If you haven't seen the movie, Chris Farley inherits break business from his dad, who knew what he was doing. He died, and then he had to learn. But this guy isn't learning anything. We gave Gruden that huge contract. And like I said, I think it was a blessing in disguise. All those emails came out that we could get out of that 10-year contract. It was ridiculous. And then he brought in his buddy Mike Mayock, another NFL Network pundit who thinks he knows everything, who doesn't know jack shit. Again, we're playing Nick Bosa now. Granted, Nick Bosa got picked second overall, I believe. And we got Cleve fourth overall, and they were trying to justify it, saying, oh, they were right there. Both of them said it. I remember that, and it was like, what? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Where are you getting that justification at all? Not say Cleve's bad, but he is not a defensive player of the year candidate. He never will be a defensive player of the year candidate. So you have these regimes that are making these moves that are very questionable. Now, if they were going to can Derek Carr, why not do it? Why didn't they do it right away? They didn't have to extend him. They didn't extend Josh Jacobs. I don't think they regret that, to be honest with you. I think running back's a very flexible position. But, however, why aren't we seeing more Zamir White? And now he's questionable for this game. What do we have for next year? Josh Jacobs is not coming back. I said he wasn't going to come back anyway. We weren't going to give him the money he wanted anyway. Now he's pissed off at us, at the franchise, because the franchise looks lost again. We look terrible. And it goes back to Mark Davis, giving the vote of confidence with that fantastic job bullshit at 2-7. Are you kidding me? He's a goof. He's an idiot. He's a Tommy boy. If you want to say something like, we're in the process of, changing this and, trying to fill the holes, and it's going to be a process. To be honest, we did win some good games at the end. We had some momentum. We did go 10-7, but were we really a 10-7 team? Kind of. I mean, we played Cincinnati hard. But again, that goes back to this whole thing with Rich Bisaccia. Why didn't we keep him? He went and got a lateral position. He went special teams coach. Why didn't we keep him, give him a raise, and say, like I said, that's what Al Davis would have done. He was very loyal to his players until they weren't loyal to him. I mean, maybe the exception of Marcus Allen, you could say that, but he would have taken care of Rich Bisaccia if he was around. And I mean, Rich helped keep this team together. Not to say he's some offensive mastermind, but he was a leader. He could lead men. And after what happened with Gruden and then Ruggs and Arnett, this team could have just lost every single game they did. And they won 4 in a row and almost beat the AFC champions in their house. So, but no loyalty here. You got Mark Davis. He's a piece of trash, in my opinion.
What I've been saying, champion, and some other.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say one comment that I've been saying in some other live streams is this. At the head coaching position, you don't necessarily need an X's and O's guy, a guy who knows how to game plan, a guy who knows offense and defense. At the head coaching position, first and foremost, you need a guy, as you mentioned, who could lead men, who could light a fire under their assets, who could motivate, who could pick up players when they're down, who knows how to talk to players individually and collectively. And Bisaccia had that gift. And I think some guys are cut out for that and some guys aren't. Mm-hmm. And Bisaccia had that quality, and I don't think Josh McDaniels has that quality. To that point, I'm not sure if you saw KJ Wright. He was on a podcast. I think it was either today or yesterday. And they asked him about Rich Bisaccia. And he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, I don't know what Mark Davis was thinking when he did not extend Rich Bisaccia. We all loved him in the locker room last year. He held the team together through some, as you mentioned, traumatic events. And then the guy who was hosting asked them, well, what do you think the players think of Josh McDaniels? And KJ Wright said, hey, I'm still in touch with some of those guys. I'm in touch with Josh Jacobs. And he didn't attribute, his thoughts to any individual player who's currently on the team. But he said that it was kind of like a culture shock to bring in Josh McDaniels and the Patriots to the building. And this analogy that I've been throwing around, Champion, is this. Imagine you and I and John Doe, we're all coworkers and we work for this company, and we have this boss that we all really like, who treats us fair, who holds us accountable, but is a good boss. And now imagine that boss is just like replaced. I mean, of course we'd experience some kind of culture shock. Of course, we wouldn't agree with upper management decisions to decide who manages us on a day-to-day basis. And that's what happened here. I think Mark Davis, as the kids like to say, he got lost in the sauce. He thought that the Patriots were going to come and take us to that next level, when in reality, these guys are coming in and hitting the restart button. There's a couple of things that are clear to me. The first and foremost, if you look at Bill Belichick's coaching tree, it's just incredibly unsuccessful. It's like the fruit, like it's like poisonous fruit that just falls from that tree. Like, there has been no GM, head coach who has succeeded, who has come from the Belichick tree. So what that tells me is this: maybe the Patriot way, you can't replicate it anywhere else. Maybe that's just very specific to New England. They have a very, very specific way of doing things there. And that's just, you just can't replicate it anywhere else. A few months ago, there was an article published on The Athletic, authored by Vic Tafur. And Vic Tafur was talking about how Josh McDaniels and Ziegler have these staffers who are essentially, pouring through players' social media. Because as you know, the Patriots are very, very much, sort of tight-lipped, and they don't want their players saying anything really. And Bisaccia wasn't like that, right? He let players be players, and what mattered was what you did on the field. And I could just imagine, having these staffers who are essentially the social media police, questioning, Devontae Adams or Josh Jacobs about the various posts that they're making. So I don't know. I just don't think that this Patriot way can be replicated, and I think that they're gonna fail and fall on their face. And I'm just sick and tired of the Raiders once again being the training ground for first year, GMs. Same with Mayock, right? We brought him from TV and gave him his first break with the Raiders. I give him credit for a couple of the picks that he landed, primarily Max Crosby in the 4th round. But other than that, I mean, as you mentioned, this Tommy boy, he doesn't know how to run the team. But I think this was a very, very, and I'll get to your reaction. This will be my last point. I think this was the very, very first time I joined one of your lives, Champion. I mentioned that every move that Mark Davis has made since he took over the reins of this team, since his dad died in October of 2011, has been motivated by money. It's no longer commitment to excellence; it's commitment to the dollar sign. This entire week, in an attempt to gloss over the trauma that this organization is going through, Raiders PR and the Raiders organization has been talking about how Ice Cube and Too Short are playing at the halftime show during the 49ers game. Well, I don't care about that. But it's become less and less about football and more about entertainment and these halftime shows and having T-Pain and all these different artists perform. It's no longer about what's happening between the lines. It's about providing an entertainment experience. And it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, I think to Mark Davis, whether or not the Raiders win. Obviously, he would prefer that they win and be a winning organization. But whether a legion is filled with, Raider fans or away fans, it doesn't matter. At last count, by the way, I saw on social media, they are estimating at least 75% of Allegiant this weekend being decked out in red and gold.
Oh, I believe it.
I'll take your reaction.
Oh, I believe it. I want to get to the comments. We got some comments in here, but yeah, Ice Cube and Too Short. That's funny because that's kind of pulling at the heartstring of the old school Raider fans. Okay, yeah, Too Short. Of course, he's from Oakland, so you got the Oakland contingency there, and then Ice Cube, NWA. That goes with the old Los Angeles Raiders, and they were wearing the colors. Like you said, it sounds like a marketing ploy. It's a joke. I've got a few more comments regarding that, as well as Mark Davis, as well as the Patriots. So I'm going to get to some of the comments here. We got a few more comments here. Let's see. Officer Rollout says he's willing to join the chat once you get your IT set up. That's great. I appreciate that. Go for it, because I can have more than one person in here. I believe I can have up to 6 people in here at a time. Now, you probably don't want any more than that anyway, but everybody's going to kind of step on each other. But if you see somebody in here, that doesn't mean he's the only one or she's the only one that can be in here. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you and your take on the Houston Texans and Derek Carr coming there. So let's see. Raiders 75-28 says, if we lose these final 2 games, we'll have the 7th pick. Bears are sitting at pick 2. They aren't drafting a quarterback, which allows us to move up and draft C.J. Stroud. If we want C.J. Stroud. We'll get into that in the offseason. Sandy says the Bears stink too. The Bears are kind of rebuilding right now. I was expecting a little more, but again, they really haven't surrounded Justin Fields. Now, he's still under a rookie contract. The offensive line is, I would say, a smidge better, but no real weaponry there, especially at the wide receiver position. We'll have to wait and see. And the Bears defense is not the same as it was when they first got Khalil Mack. It's regressed. They've lost a lot of people. Roquan, Keem, they've lost him. Of course, Khalil Mack to the Chargers. We could have a return of the Mac next year. I keep saying this. It would not surprise me. I don't think the Chargers are going to pay him $23 million. It's not going to happen. So it's another story we can follow in the offseason. A lot of crazy stuff we can follow in the offseason. Let's see. Dominique says that we will see. We don't know. Curtis Williams. This is a very interesting take here. This is insane. I can't even comprehend on how we go from a solid playoff team back to rebuilding. Raiders have been rebuilding for 20 some odd years now. So again, what's the common factor in that? In that 20 some odd years, what's the common factor? Tommy Boy Davis. And I'm going to go a little more into Tommy Boy Davis. Now, this is how I see it, right? I think Jack Del Rio kind of had a magical year, and then they came back to earth the next year. That was the 2016 and the 2017. Not to say he should have been fired, but he was kind of saying, well, why aren't we in the playoffs now? Almost like a little child. And I think maybe they're trying to get that deal going with Vegas, or actually Los Angeles in the beginning, try to get a new stadium. Oakland wouldn't buy. They're broke. They're not going to give us a new stadium. That's why the A's are moving as well. So, but again, with Mark Davis, you look and say, okay, he's thinking, literal hamster wheel probably in his head. He's thinking, when was the last time the Raiders were good? Oh, John Gruden. John Gruden was the coach. Let me give him a boatload of money and bring him back. Yes, we're going to go back to the Super Bowl. Yes. We weren't going to go back. And I say that after the second year with him. I was optimistic, but after the second year, I said, look, guys, I don't think we win a Super Bowl with this guy. He gets out-coached. Especially in the second half of games, second half of the season. I'm kind of seeing this with McDaniels, too, especially with the adjustments in the second half. Losing so many games. I don't understand that one at all. He's supposed to be this guru. I'm not seeing it. You can be the smartest guy in the room, but if you can't get people's attention, it don't mean jack shit. Let's be honest. And I think that's where he is with the locker room. And then after the whole Gruden and the email thing goes, okay, what do we do? Who's been good? Oh, the Patriots. Patriots have been good. They've been good for 20 years. Let's get as many Patriots as we can get. This is like kindergarten mentality with this guy. I'm telling you, the acorn fell way over from the tree of Al Davis. Way over. Not a football guy. I wish like I said, I wish he would sell the team. I wish he'd sell the team to a guy like Mark Cuban. I don't know if he'd buy it. Maybe he would. But at least Mark has shown, he isn't, with the Mavericks and in the NBA, at least they won a title. He's shown that he wants to win. He wants to put a good product out there. And I agree with you, Al. I don't think he does. I don't think he cares as long as he's making money. And it's going to be sad. It's sad because it's I know it's a business, but it's just too much of a business now. So let's see. Facts, McDaniels is not a head coach or a leader. And let's talk about that. That's my second point I want to talk about with McDaniels and this new regime. Are we seeing Denver 2.0? Let's think about this, right? He ran Jay Cutler out and then had issues with Brandon Marshall, got rid of him. So is that what's going to happen with Devontae Adams now? Is this Denver 2.0 for McDaniels? Let's talk about, what do you guys think? I want to put that in the comments right now if you think that it's eerily similar. Again, we had too many holes, and of course I'm kind of thinking that now that this was just evaluation and did not really care about winning this year because we didn't fill the holes, and this year we're playing a tougher division, NFC West coming in. As we move around. So let me see. Dominique says Magic Johnson is who I said. That would work for the fan base. I don't know if that would work for us as far as that goes. I know he owns a part of the Dodgers. They've been pretty well. So the Raiders can rebuild, right? Says Sandy B. Yeah. Again, I think the fan base is kind of getting tired of this. Curtis Williams says this is about money and superstars. People are not going to pay $500 to $600 to see Derek Carr, but they will Brady, Rodgers, or Lamar. I think Brady's done. Does that mean he can't have a good game here or there? Yeah, it's kind of like Russell Wilson. You've seen it. Not just that, he's going through the stuff off the field, the divorce and all that crap. Aaron Rodgers probably in better shape, but he's old too. Lamar Jackson's hurt. I don't want to pay a ton of money for a running quarterback who gets hurt. That's stupid. And neither does Baltimore, for that matter. That's why they didn't extend him. So, let's see.
Champion, quick comment on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Quick comment on that one, Champion. I don't know if you could hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
I understand Sandy. Yeah, I understand Sandy's comment, but to go back to my earlier comment, I actually don't think it really matters who our quarterback is. It's my understanding that a lot of hotel rooms now, or a lot of hotels are like comping tickets as part of like travel packages. Plus, you will always have away fans interested in going to Vegas for a game weekend. So to Tommy Boy's, master ploy, I don't think it really matters like who our quarterback is or whether or not we, the Raiders, have a winning product on the field. Because, I was checking out the tickets for the Niner game. They're at $400, $600. I mean, the cheapest seats, right? And who are the folks who are buying those up? The folks from the Bay Area, right, where I live. They're flying out there for the game, for a weekend game, especially because it's on Sunday, January 1st, so they could party, today, tomorrow, and then go to the game on Sunday. So it's like a brilliant, I think, business move on behalf of Tommy Boy to just continually generate revenue without actually putting a good Raider football product on the field.
And that's probably why they shifted the focus to Vegas as far as the NFL goes. There was talk of the Raiders moving back to LA and sharing the stadium with the Rams. There was also talk about the Raiders and the Chargers sharing their stadium, and the Raiders going to the NFC. There was talk about that before Vegas. And I think the league saw the possibility with Vegas, not just what you were talking about there, but also Pro Bowls, Super Bowls, money. So that said, there, of course, there's a business side to that, and I'm not going to deny that. Give me a break. They want to make money. It's a business. I get it, but to sacrifice or be apathetic to the product on the field because you can still make money goes against everything Al Davis was. This whole, like I said, this whole pride and poise and commitment, it needs to go away. They need to take it off the stands and all that. Even as far as maybe even changing the logo, this is not Al Davis. Did Al Davis want to make money? Of course, but he cared. He cared about the product on the field. He wanted to win every game, and if they weren't, he would be in the coaches' faces, GM, whatever, the players, to get it done. And that's the bottom line. Up until, of course, I think he lost his mental faculties there later on. A lot of questionable picks, but, Father Time gets everybody. I can't fault him for that, but his mentality and the standard, it's gone. It's gone. The Raiders of that era are gone. We're being run by a corporate entity, basically looking for money. So let me get to some more of these comments here. Flip with the wind. Officer Rollout says all teams in the Sun Belt suffer from fair weather snowbird fans that refuse to root for their new home teams. That's their prerogative. If people from Green Bay or Minnesota move down, and so what? I mean, the Raiders have a contingency of fans. I kind of getting back to Alsgo's point, if they are supplementing, and now Edelman was a big factor, and he owns a bunch of hotels and casinos down there, and incentivizing people to vacation here and giving them tickets, that's really screwing the team up, obviously, because you're getting more of the visitor fan base. I don't know. Let's see what else you guys have to say about that. Again, they should look ahead starting right now. Brady should never be allowed to be a Raider, says Valerie Lynn. How you doing? Welcome to the program, Valerie Lynn. She says he's a terrible person now. Let's be honest, he's done. I feel like we're going completely backwards. The future is uncertain. Name under McDaniels. Well, like I said, I've mentioned this in different posts on social media about Tom Brady being a Raider. And then all the Raider fans, rah, rah, you suck, you want him here, or you're not a real Raider fan. Brr, 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 brr. No, I didn't say I wanted him here. I'm saying there's a distinct possibility he's going to be here because our Tommy Boy Davis has sold us out to a Patriot regime, and that's why Jared Stidham is here. Let's be honest, because he knows the system. We might get Brady. We might get Garoppolo here as our starting quarterback next year. It is entirely possible, and we need to come to terms with that. Let's be honest. And we need to come to terms with the performance of Josh McDaniels this year. Am I saying Derek Carr did enough to keep his job here? Probably not, especially the last few games. I try to be unbiased. I give him credit where credit is due, but when he screws up, I talk about that as well. But Josh McDaniels, really, tell me a game where you have been impressed by his play calling. For the most part, not so much, and especially in the second half of games where the other teams adjust and come back and kind of outsmart us on both sides of the ball too. Patrick Graham is not above reproach here. I know the talent's not there on the defense, but still, that last game with Najee Harris, I mean, what did he catch, like 3 passes in a row near the end there, tossed in the flat right there. I mean, right in the center of the field. Even the announcers are saying they're doing it again, and nobody's stopping them. I mean, come on, guys. Let's see. TV money is important in the NFL. You're absolutely right, Sandy B. TV money is very important. That's why I was talking about it possibly being fixed, because the more people that watch, the more TV money they can get as a league, and the more excitement there is, and the closer the games are, the more people are going to watch. The more people are going to watch, and they're going to watch longer. Valerie Lynn says, and starting on Sunday, everyone will see the difference in this team. Oh, okay. Yeah. Am I saying Jared Stidham is as good as Derek Carr? Absolutely not. Am I also saying that if Derek Carr was starting this week that we would win? Absolutely not. Absolutely, especially the way he's been playing lately. I don't think we win either way. I think the Niners are a much better team than we are. And now we're decimated on the defensive side. Denzel Perryman is a huge loss, guys. And I said that. I think that's the last time we're going to see Denzel Perryman in a Raider uniform. We had the opportunity to lock him up. We probably should have. We did not. He's not going to play the next 2 weeks. Chandler Jones, given way too much money, finally did something. The ball was thrown straight to him. He's had a couple of moments, but definitely not worth the money. That said, it's gonna be tough stuff in the run now without Denzel Perryman there. They want to put Nate Hobbs on the outside. I don't see the point of that at all. I wish he'd get a little bit bigger. I would like to see him maybe even be the strong safety, the Jonathan Abram type. He likes to make plays. He can blitz. I think he's better suited to that than playing on an island on the outside. So let's see. Like, share, and subscribe, says Sandy B. Absolutely. I'm seeing all these comments coming. I appreciate every single one. I'm trying to get to these ones here. Let's see. McDaniels says, came in. Valerie's also said McDaniels came in and destroyed this whole team. Next season, he will be exposed more so, and he won't have an scapegoat. He'll probably be fired by the end of next season. He's not going to get fired next season. I would say he's got at least till 2024. Let's be honest, and I'll have Alex Ghost talk to that. You guys can talk to it too if you want as well. But when Tommy Boy said he was doing a fantastic job at 2-7, he's going to be here at least 2 years. Maybe get fired in the third year, but he's not going anywhere next year. It's not going to happen. Mark Davis, Valor also said Mark Davis is more worried about hanging out with the guys like Dana White.
On that point.
Go ahead. What do you think?
I was just gonna say, champion, and then I gotta get out of here and do something. But on that point, in terms of whether or not McDaniels will get fired, I do actually see a scenario if, like, midway through next season, through the first 8 or 9 games, if we're like 0-8, 1-9, something like that, I think Mark Davis may actually pull the trigger. And what's actually concerning to that point is this, and I've been mentioning this on some other live streams. Something that really bothers me is you have a situation in which Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels are lifelong buddies. They went to college together at John Carroll University. They were on the same football team. And typically the way things are supposed to work is you hire the GM first, and then the GM hires the head coach. The GM is supposed to, there's almost like a check and balance between the GM and head coach. And in this situation that we're in, we hired 2 buddies, which, let's be real, Dave Ziegler's not going to go ahead and fire Josh McDaniels, because actually Ziegler's the one who should do the firing. And so if Mark Davis does the firing, which I'm assuming he's the guy who would ultimately pull the trigger, he would actually fire both Ziegler and McDaniels. And at that point, we're in even deeper, you know what. But with that, I'll let you continue with the show, champion. Always great talking to you, and, go Raiders.
Go Raiders. Thank you for coming in, Al's Ghost. I appreciate that. If anybody else wants to come in, I'll take them. I usually go about an hour, so we're a little bit over, but if you want to come in and talk, that's fine. Just like the last regime, it was John Gruden and then hired a GM Mike Mayock, who even said Gruden had the final say. So, yeah, it's ass backwards. It seems like it's ass backwards here too. Let's see. Listen to the wrong people. Let's get back to Valerie Lynn. Loves Tom Brady. Listen to the wrong people, and it's nothing like his father Al. He's nothing like his father Al because he doesn't know anything about football. He's just looking around and grabbing straws at this point. Let's be honest. Let's see. Derek Carr has 14 receptions. I understand that most of them were catchable balls, but Dak also has 14. And they're not trying to bench him. The difference is they have a top defense. Yeah, the difference is they got Micah Parsons in the first round, a guy who I wanted. A lot of people were talking about that guy a couple of years ago, and I was like, let me take a look at him. I was like, whoa, oh, let's hope he comes down to us. He didn't. So it is what it is. Curtis Williams says, suffice it to say, let's see. Whoop. So it's fair to say selling tickets and jerseys are more important than winning games. Absolutely. In the new Raiders, like I said, we got to get rid of the commitment to excellence. They're just words on the wall if you're just not giving a shit about winning and just getting a big draw in and, hosting the next WrestleMania in your new stadium. Come on. Next poll, where will Tom Brady end up? My pick is ESPN. Oh gosh, not that again. I'll agree with the ESPN part. I think he's going to be gone after this year. He's going to retire, so it'll be very interesting. But to Al's Ghost's point, I talked about him maybe possibly being fired, Josh McDaniels, next year. I think what's going to happen is we're going to draft a rookie quarterback and probably start him in the beginning, if not very soon. And that's going to give him more time too. I mean, even if we go maybe 0-8, 0-9, maybe, but if you have a rookie quarterback, you're guaranteed probably 2 more years after that, this year, next year coming up, or 23, 24. So that's what I would say with that. And I think that's where we're leaning at this point. We'll get into that in the off season. I don't want to get too deep into that, but let's see. I'm not holding my breath for Sunday, says Sandy. I used to be optimistic. Well, they're playing the 49ers. If you haven't noticed, 49ers are a very good team, very solid team all the way around. They've been solid for a couple years now. They had some issues. Could they run the ball? They had a cadre of different players. And then they went and got Christian McCaffrey. They traded for him. And then it was like, well, who's going to be the quarterback? Is Trey Lance ready? We're going to hang on to Garoppolo, who's honestly, they went to the NFC Championship game. They went to a Super Bowl, but what did he really do? Not much. Let's be honest. But their formula, they really don't need that. So now they got McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in the league. They have one of the best top to bottom defenses. And the Raiders are kind of meddling by. And the coaching staff, Kyle Shanahan, Ratface Jr., Mike Shanahan's boy, pretty good coach. Maybe even better than his daddy. So it's gonna be a problem this weekend, guys. It's gonna be a problem. So Valerie says, I believe Mark Davis has been brainwashed by the Patriots. We're beginning to be Patriots 2.0 and we're supposed to be the Raiders. Well, yeah, I think that's the Tommy boy again. Tommy boy's thinking, okay, when were we relevant last? John Gruden was the coach. Get John Gruden back. Give him money. Piles of money. And then the email thing. To me, it's silver lining. But anyway, what do we do now? Who's good? Patriots. It's the same thing. The thought process isn't there because he's not a football guy. And he is doing some things business-wise that make money. I got to give him that. Okay, I got to give him that. And the value of the team has gone up. But I'm thinking if he was truly intelligent, what he would do is hunt around, talk to the other owners, have even an independent vetting process, find a football general manager, player operation guy who knows what he's doing. decide on that guy and say, here you go. You do your thing. I'll give you at least 3 years at whatever, guaranteed. You do your thing. We have trust in you. We vetted you. And then you do this to the football side because you don't know what you're doing. You get a guy in there and let him do his thing. That's what should have happened. But no. It seems like we have snap judgments because we have an idiot as an owner. I don't want to say any other words because, you know, who knows? Maybe that will get me in trouble. Who knows? But oh well. See, we got 10 viewers in there. We got a few in here. We got 4,800 likes. We have 8 likes with 10 viewers. We need to get that up. I want to get you going here. I will be back. I'm not leaving yet. So put your final comments in there. I will be back on Sunday. Game time starts 1:05. I'll be here about 2:30. Of course, all times are Raider time. We'll talk about the game. We'll do a final review the next day. So let's see. Exactly, the Niners are solid. They're just literally just a quarterback away from being over the top, in my opinion. Don't be surprised if they give Derek a look. It would be a little surprise. Since they kind of really mortgaged themselves draft-wise for Trey Lance. To bring a Derek Carr in, even if he doesn't make $40 million a year, it's going to be a lot of money. Even $30 million. The Niners are a type of team where they have a rookie on a rookie contract and you're hoping he does well, and then you can buffer the rest of it with players and then ride that rookie contract and possibly win a championship. But again, it's possible, but with the amount they invested into Trey Lance, it's hard for me to see the Niners doing that. Let's see. I'm not tripping. Let's see. Want to try to win a Super Bowl. They bring in Tom Brady. Enough of the Tom Brady. I want to try to win a Super Bowl at home next season when the Super Bowl is in Vegas. And I don't see it working. I don't see it either. Again, I talked about the rigging of the league, and I said the last 2 champions have played their Super Bowl in their home stadium, which has never, ever, ever happened until then, which is very fishy to me. Fishy. So one of many things. So I'm not going to get into the whole that. If you want to talk specifically on that, we'll talk about that on a live stream if you want to request that just as a subject. But I said my piece on that. So let's see. Not like before. It's cool, Sandy. Okay. You guys are funny. So anyway, let's get to these last comments here. Officer roll out draft Mikey Cow. Stop. Raider, he should already know what to do if he knew what he was doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He was the beneficiary of being born into the right family. Let's be honest. It's Tommy Boy. If you haven't watched the movie, watch the movie now. Chris Farley, the Tommy Boy, actually buckled down and started turning things around in the movie, but I don't see that here. Valerie says, Al is a true legend, one of the most respected figures in the NFL. Mark is completely opposite in his case. The apple fell miles away from the tree, absolutely. And let's see, 1 Super Bowl with the Bears. Well, yeah, you had 1 Super Bowl. That was one of the greatest teams of all time, too. So, and one of the greatest running backs of all time on that team. Why didn't he get a touchdown in that game, Ditka? I'm not a Bears fan, and that still kind of irks me, to be honest with you. Put that big old fat ass fridge in there and got the touchdown. So anyway, let's normally go about an hour. If you have any other questions or any other comments or questions, put them in here. Again, I will be on Sunday afternoon, 2:30 Raider time ish. It'll be at halftime. We go about 10 or 15 minutes. I can't show the game, so I come on during the halftime break and talk with you guys what I'm seeing during the game. And then the next night we do the full game review. We'll do that, and we can talk more about Derek Carr and the future of this team, because frankly, we can go over the game, but I think it's going to be kind of a bloodbath, to be honest with you. Niners are much better. We're putting in Stidham here with a questionable offensive line against The defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa. Let's be honest here. So doesn't add up too well. Not to mention their linebackers, greedy secondary, good corners. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So, one more thing. Valerie asks, who would win between the 86 Bears and the 2000 Ravens? Ooh, I've seen both teams. That's a very good question, to be honest with you. And Sandy goes, ooh. I'm going to say the 2000 Ravens. Both are very good. Jamal Lewis was an absolute beast. Big guy, can power run. That's who I would take. Plus, in that time frame between 86 and 2000, the players keep getting bigger and faster. So physically, there's probably a little bit of a mismatch there as well. So it's hard to compare straight up. All right, let's see. We'll just have to wait. That's what Curtis Williams says. We're just going to have to wait and see with these Raiders. So I do appreciate the conversation as well, Curtis. Thank you for coming in. Again, I will be on Sunday afternoon. You want to stop by at halftime. If they're looking like crap, I'll probably be ranting and raving in here as well. We'll come in on Monday night and talk about this game and then cover the final game against the Chiefs. I hope to God they at least try to show up against a division rival. Again, nothing to play for. Let's try to be spoiler at least, to have a little bit of pride and poise. Can we find that? Again, I think the Chiefs are going to have to play balls to the wall all out because they're going to try to get that number 1 seed. So it's going to be a tough road to hoe the next 2 weeks. And then we get to see the offseason. What happens to Derek Carr? I think he's going to be gone. And then who's going to be the quarterback? We get to the offseason. We have a lot of fun with that. We do mock drafts of the NFL draft. We have a lot of fun with that. So if you are enjoying this, again, put a like in on your way out. Appreciate it. Helps the channel. And also subscribe so you get the notifications. You got to set that stupid bell to all. If you're on YouTube, if you're on the TikTok, be sure to follow and keep up to date with all of us. Thank you very much. Thank you for subbing, Valerie Lynn. I do appreciate that. And as always, go Raiders.
Ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.